So this is Chris Hex from HexHeart Promotions, HexHeart Podcast, and I got with me today one and only fanboying over here. I got Gurschach, I got Scotty Mcrib, and I've got Brian X King. Say hello, guys.
Just X.
Oh,
Yeah.
you want to go X? Okay, we'll go X. We'll go X and Scotty
Brian's
Mcrib.
a pretty fucking lame name.
Yeah, that's not it, but whatever.
All right, so before we start, I want to go ahead and give you guys some promotion that October 22nd at Bobby D's with Kellison and True None is where you're going to be playing October 22nd. October 23rd is the house show in Modesto with my guys and girls, Crimson Flare, and From Depths Arise, and the Haley Show. Something I may make an appearance at because that's my neck of the woods. It's Modesto. Isn't it? Isn't it at Hilmar? It's at Hilmar, right?
It is in Hilmar. Yeah, that's where the house is. It's the general area. I'm talking about.
That makes sense. Given the fact that it's really hard to book Crimson Flare, from experience, it's always good to do house shows or places where it's a free show. And then October 29th, you have Toots Tavern with Infex, Black Sabbath, Catholic, and Frightmare. I have to say that's going to be a massive show.
What's it called? It's pretty funny. They're a Black Sabbath cover band, and it's pretty funny because back in my original band name days, me and my original band had a song called Back Sabbath. That's why I found it pretty funny that there's a cover band with that name,
Right. Well, mind you, Nothing But Losers has a song that says stab, stab, stab. So stabbing must really be a thing.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta put a knife in someone. You know what I mean?
Okay, we'll put a knife in. We'll put a knife in that for later. And so I actually remember Catholic from the days of the other place and the year 2000 when I was going around as an audio tech. Catholic was one of them that they were really massive. Are they still around?
I mean, they're playing this show, so they're around enough, I suppose. But that's really just the thing. It's like first time playing with those guys, so it'll be fun. And then the opening band, Frightmare, it's their first show since the 80s, so that's pretty neat.
Right. Halloween's stacked for you guys, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's not even all of it. We got the next day, October 30th. We're gonna be
yes, with Suburban Paranoia and Vicillator. Have you talked to?
Be a good time.
Have you talked to Brandon Blacker about how that's work out?
Well, we already have the whole thing figured. It's really just it's just the PA, that's going to be provided. We're going to have amps. We're going to basically be playing in a house is the whole thing. So it's going to be neat. It's going to be a little different from how last year's was, but still should be a good time. And house shows are fun.
For sure. And then I have to say without too much over foreshadowing, I have to say I myself am planning something with you guys and Volra Haven coming next year. But that's more for later. That's something that that is going to come to fruition when I'm done. A venue that you guys will massively fit at. So plus the payment's easy.
Cool.
Too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, honestly,
For sure.
We definitely don't mind playing.
For sure, and you'll get paid for it, which duh. Whenever I make sure I throw a show on, I make sure you guys get paid. I mean, that's basic. So I'm hoping for things to go off, So let's talk. So, do you mind if we get started with the interview? I mean, might
Yeah,
as
go for
well.
it.
Go for it.
Okay. So, let me get over. Let me pull it over. So, okay, you can see me okay? Just wanted to make
Yep.
sure of that. All right, cool. All right. And also, I wanted to let everyone know that this is live. You have the ability to have the chat feature, which should be active. Yeah. Okay. So you see this bar on the side. It should have questions, and yeah. So let's see if this will
So
work.
we're just waiting for somebody to say hi then.
Yeah, just waiting for someone to say hi. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's the chat overlay. Gonna make sure that happens. And so yeah, let's talk let's talk interviews.
Yes.
Okay, so whoops, let me move that over more. So basic question is, how long did you practice your craft before you got on stage?
Well, I mean, in the sense of that question, I mean, like, so when I first was joining the band, like that was probably July, August of 2013, and our first gig was in that was November, wasn't it? When we played Submission in San Francisco,
Probably, yeah.
something like that. But it was like essentially when I joined, like it was probably we spent probably about like 3 months just getting me ready to play with the material we had at the time. But as for everything else, I mean, like music wise, I mean, I've played music since I was 9. Like I started with the trumpet, went on from that to drums, went on from that to guitar, and then picked up bass to join these guys. So it's like I've been doing music for a while. That's its own little thing, but yeah,
For
I mean,
sure, for
there's
sure.
definitely there's definitely preparation that goes into it. It's just like I don't feel like it's the kind of thing where it's like, oh, hey, like we need to take like a whole year to get ready.
You made it. You
Like
made
that.
it an art for sure.
So this is my 14th year having played guitar, and this is actually coming up on our 10th year of being a band officially. I don't know that we actually waited at all to get on stage, though. For us, pretty much back then when we had our a lot more local hometown venues that everybody had like the hot spot for, it was more often that we would learn what we were doing by going on the stage. Just
There you go.
everybody would start
You were
off as
by
a
the
bunch of
field.
teenagers. Yeah, we'd start off as teenagers, play on stage, and just suck. And that was kind of, you would suck over and over and over again until you eventually started getting better. It
There's
wasn't.
a funny thing to say about that. There's a thing to say about skateboarding. It also works for this, is that behind one success is a million fails, and I think
Exactly.
Very
that's a
much so.
good way of putting
Very
it.
much so.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really going to be able to get better at playing shows or being on stage until you get all of the mistakes out of the way, and that's coming whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd say like in
Good way
that
of putting
realm,
it.
sometimes it's just like I feel like for some people, like some people will take those like as like like oh man, like this is a hard thing, like man, this was supposed to be perfect, but eventually it gets to a
Right.
point where like you
You
realize that
expect it.
it's not just that you expect it, but you learn from it. You learn like what works, what doesn't, what's something you should change, what's something that should stay the same. And it's that kind of trial and error that's always persistent. I even think that like the big bands even do that, to be honest.
Yeah, everybody makes mistakes even today, no matter what level you're at. I
Right.
think
Right.
you have to allow yourself to mess up occasionally, and you'll have to understand that when you're first starting off, you're going to mess up more times than you're going to do things right, and that should be totally fine. You're at
There
least
was a
they're
there was
trying,
another
you know?
quote that said that every big band was a little local at one point, and I think that says a lot for people in the local scene as well as the bigger scene. I mean, we were all at one point little. We all are at one point little. We never stop learning.
Yeah, well, almost every band.
Yeah, I mean, the moment that you stop learning is the
When you fail, when you ultimately fail, when you're done, when you quit is
Well,
when
when
you
you
fail.
plateau, I mean, there's not really anywhere forward to go if that's as far as you can take it.
Hmm. Okay, stacked on that question, when did Gurschach start?
Started in 2011. I would say we might have technically passed our 10-year anniversary thing back in September, but that was kind of an unofficial lineup. I would say our first time starting would have to be sometime in December 2011. So we should definitely have a post ready for when that occurs.
If I'm not mistaken, actually, Brian, you and I actually have some history. Um, when we actually connected at the other place, when you gave me one of your singles, what was it? What do you think this is? A game?
Yep.
We actually sat back and had a beer. I didn't drink, but you're like, hey, so check out this song that we're doing, and I was like, dude, this is amazing. I mean, it was you're an impressive guy. Let me tell you, you have an aura around yourself. You and Scotty both. I mean, you have charisma for sure, and it worked for your band, and it worked for you personally. So much
Yeah,
props
I
there.
noticed it as well. It's a lot of people tell me it's must be nice. I haven't exactly experienced it myself, being that I am me. I hear we're pretty good.
yeah. Some
Right.
people some people would say we're pretty good. Some people would say play thrash. you know.
Just another thrash band. Just another thrash band. Um. So do you have as a question, this as a more of a personal question, more or less, do you ever show signs of strain with members when you play? I mean, the play structure. Do you guys have like a certain totem, or do you just come together and like, we're gonna do this until this works, and you just crash into each other with your playing?
I mean, yes and no. I would say all the time, but not like endlessly. I'd say there are good days and bad days with that.
Yeah, I'd say that me and him kind of have a friendly competition vocally, and that's that just comes down to like who can like throw down the hardest. But that's really it.
Get throw down the hearts.
Yeah, I find that Daniel and I have sort of a friendly competition instrumentally too over who can take more abuse on their instruments when they come to writing parts. But in this case, it's more like, some songs just take forever and is an absolute slog to get through. And then by the time we're done writing it, we just all take a sigh of relief. And some songs
This
come to us in like
over.
one day over 4 hours. And everybody just is like, yo, this is just coming out of nowhere. So it's always going to be like that. Obviously, when you have
Is
so
this
many
gonna
creative
be a
minds,
song or not?
every now and then you have all these creative minds working together in the same space. You're going to have tension, and that's also just a normal part of it. Sort of the way you handle that will determine whether or not you get work done.
Yeah, I
There
mean, in
you
that
go.
realm,
There you
in
go.
that realm, is to say like somebody who's like, oh well, this song is perfect. I wrote it that way. I don't want it to change. This is great as it is. Fuck you guys for thinking otherwise. Like that's only gonna go as far as that. I say that like, it's really collaborating, and it's also like having different answers and different ways to approaching those kind of things that
Oh
actually
yeah, right.
benefit the process. Because at the end of the day, like putting the more heads in it at once, you do ultimately end up with a better song, in my opinion.
Yeah, you never want to shut people out from actually contributing to what you're doing, or else you're not really a
Right,
band.
because they actually might give you a better view of what you thought you saw. It's like the outs I think a good way of putting it is having a band is like having multiple ways of looking at something in different versions.
That's true. I think in this case, a big factor of that is, you know, if you're like the main writer for the band, you might have good ideas. You might have most of the good ideas, but you don't have all of the ideas. And it's not just because
Right,
other
right.
people could help you write for you. It's to say that everybody who's there has something they want to contribute. They have a voice too, and you don't want to silence that because otherwise, why would they want to stick around with you?
Right, right. There are some. No, there's a very minuscule amount of people that I've worked with that I can honestly say, dude, I'm just done with you. I can't do it. You know, you're way overbearing. I can't do it. But I honestly I can't say that there is a high amount of people that are like that. I mean, I honestly have to say that it's weird, but the metal scene has to be the most, in my opinion, the coolest bunch when it comes to ideas, when it comes to asking for advice. The metal scene doesn't give a fuck. There's no judgment there, unlike most other places.
Yeah, it's more camaraderie, more family oriented.
Okay, so who? Okay, so here's one. Here's a good one. Who are your heroes?
Mine would be right there. Good old Buckethead.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that was great. That was a great answer.
Yeah, Buckethead has been my favorite guitarist, instrumentalist, band musician, whatever you want to say, since about 2007 for me. And
There we go.
that hasn't really ever gone down. Like over years, I've found myself getting, less into Muse, less into AC/DC than I was at the very start. But Buckethead, I will come back to every single year, and it's still just as fresh as it always was.
There you go. There you go. What about you, Scotty?
I mean, this is less more like of a like creative thing and more of a lifestyle thing. I'd probably say Lemmy Kilmister, to be honest, because legitimately, I mean, like he definitely was someone that's kind of like he was one of those larger than life people, and like nowadays I'm finding that like we're really lacking that a lot in
Right,
a
right.
lot of our band people. It's like a lot of the people you generally see like in bands these days are like, they're your usual like guys you see on the street corners, like your gas station employees, you're like
Hmm.
people who like just got off work, and it's like I feel like
That
the era.
creative spark just isn't there.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's not there. I'm not knocking them like creatively. I'm just saying like, in my opinion, whether it's an image thing or it's an energy thing, like there. I mean, like the thing that Lemmy brought
It's
to the
missing
table was like
something.
definitely he definitely did that. Of course, he's not the only person who did, but is to say like the era that he kind of championed was just like the era of like rock stars being like, larger than life figures, people who are doing all kinds of crazy things. And it was just it is like you couldn't believe like it was this person, and it was like it plays up like into a lot of what people see in them. And I'd say like I definitely feel like some of those days like needs to come back in our current like slew of like popular bands and whatnot, because I think that's a big reason why metal isn't really in the mainstream as much anymore. And
I, th-
naturally,
I
some
think it's an
things.
imbalance. It's a huge imbalance issue. I think you have people who are the larger than life types out there. I mean, there's Machine Gun Kelly with what he's doing lately, and then there's people who, you know, wake up in the morning, practice guitar, forget to eat, sleep, or even shower, and then, the next day they're still practicing guitar and no one knows who they are. They don't have any personality. They don't actually like anything other than what it is that they play. And most of what they write about is just how sad and alone they are. I feel like there's not a big enough balance of people who actually weigh the musicianship and the personality sort of hand in hand with each other and create
You're
someone
thinking
who
that there's
is
people that are
involved.
playing. You're talking about the people that are playing out there, but they're not part of the part of the scene.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, because like some of those people still do play shows, and some of those people still are in bands. Just to say, like, I think that what he's getting at is just in general, like people who kind of just don't like exude like more to themselves than a character.
Yeah, they sort of underestimate the personality that goes with it. They sort of you kind of
Okay.
forget no one follows a band just because of like whatever the music is. You always look at who they are. You always look up what their names are, how old they are, what they look like, and
Their
you always want to
personality.
find yourself to identify with them because how can you really appreciate these, you know, subject matters in the music that you're listening to if you feel like you don't even identify with the person who wrote it in the first place?
Of course. I
Very
mean,
little
that's how
bit
it
of what
works
you
for
do
bands.
is always going to be based on you're selling firstly your music and then secondly yourself. And in some cases it's switched the other way around. So some people I think only do like the music and some people only do themselves. Like people who just straight up blow chunks at their instruments will become like household names because they're like total douchebags out there and stuff. And they're more known for causing a riot than they are for actually putting out music.
There you
So
go.
there's like
There
an
you
imbalance, I think. Too many people feel like you get one or the other. You realize you got to have both. You have to be the full package.
Yeah, I mean, like in that realm, I mean, I feel like to the like more yourself than other ones. Like a perfect example, and I was just like
go.
hanging out with my family the other day was Gigi Allen, to be honest, because most people don't know him because of like the music he did. Most people know him because of his little interviews on the talk shows where he was like basically talking about how he was like a force of chaos and all that shit. And like
Right.
on the nature of that word shit, like the shows where he literally like shat while playing and threw it like that's just it. Like that's more so what people know him for than like his actual music. But
It's acting. It's about what you bring out in your performance than the performance itself. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the reason we have stage
think of
costumes and
Jared Threaten from 2018, for
oh
instance.
fuck, that's right,
The
that
point
guy.
I was making is there's a few of those from back in Gigi Allen's day, but nowadays it's just a lot of people who are like either all music and no talk or all talk and no music. So it's like
right.
with Jared Threaten, there's this guy who became an overnight like worldwide sensation because of this sort of scam he was putting out there that made him famous for being like the biggest fake in the industry. And then like
There's one
five
bigger
months
than
later,
MGK.
who is Jared Threaten? No one cares about him now. He's not remembered for his
Wow.
music because he didn't really care too much about the music. It was about the audience and the scam he was putting out.
And it was less so about the music and how he looked while he's holding that freaking picture
Mhm.
frame around
It
his
wasn't
neck.
about the music, it was about the fame.
Yeah, so there's an imbalance there. I guess that's the long and short of it now.
Oh, lovely. Okay, so what I think I said that already. How can we reach you in social media? Like how can we find you?
Pretty much all of them except for like Pinterest and Tumblr. Yeah, we've
You're
got
you're on TikTok,
Instagram,
aren't you?
Facebook. Yeah, we've even got TikTok. Apparently, our biggest platform now. And I got to tell you, the funny thing about our TikTok is that we never actually wanted to do TikTok in the first place.
We just looking over here, we're like, oh, these freaking Zoomers with their freaking short videos. This is just fine.
I don't
you know?
shit on Zoomers as much about that. I think it's just TikTok is at this point for us another thing that we got to worry about. It's like, you know, we've already got a YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We have our own website. We got a Spotify. We've got Bandcamp, bands in town. And it's too much. And then here comes TikTok. I got to be on that now. Like, when is it ever enough? Like, when can we just stop with everything? And
I think that's honestly up to you guys because at some point you have to like start forgetting where you're at. when it comes to your social media, like check here, check here, check here, check here, check here. And before you know it, like you're starting to like doing loops on your social media. It's like
No,
stop.
exactly. Sometimes there's been a lot of thought over like, which platforms can we like put by the wayside or just not update as frequently as the main one that works. So the thing for us is that TikTok originally was not something that we intended to be active on. It was that we found out that our
You're
music
bored.
was on TikTok and all of the audio for it in like 30 to 1 minute sections had been completely posted there. And there were some people posting videos using our audio that TikTok then flagged as the original. So there was this guy who did this slideshow of his dog or something, and it said like he is the original owner of this audio, and all of us were like,
Oh,
we're on
oh.
TikTok again.
All right, time for
Okay, done with TikTok. Oh, I just
So now we're on TikTok. We
horrible.
found out the secret is they didn't do it on purpose. It was just whoever posts a video of their audio first gets the original tag. So we realized, well, crap, now we got to claim our audio. We can't let some random punk just do that for us. So we got on TikTok just to take the audio. But we had to post actual content on there because if all we did was just show up, claim audio, we would immediately get banned for just being a spammy business account,
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just do that on TikTok. You have to be active. So we just came up with some stupid,
stupid ideas.
We just stuff that we didn't really care about. It took us like I think 3 days was the max it took us to work on a single one of our videos, and that ended up being Welcome to Metal Talk, which is now 2.7 million views and counting.
Right. Scotty Mcrib, I'm looking at you for the McRib challenge. By the way, that was.
Ah, there he goes.
Oh man!
I wonder if we're still on there.
It doesn't look like it stopped.
Well, he's still there. If we could go on that. Nope, we're still there.
We're still here. All right, well, he's gonna come back in a second. In the meantime, this stream is sponsored by the McRib because it's coming back in November already.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called? All right, there you go. Yep.
Okay, so what I was saying was Scotty Mcrib and his rib challenge. That was beautiful, by the way. I have to say. How did you have to vote on that, or was that like we're gonna make you the butt of the joke type of thing?
No, none of us wanted to do it more than Scotty.
Yep. I mean, honestly, it's a stage name that I got a long time ago, and like the whole thing in terms of like me never actually having like a McRib before that, more so due to availability than anything else, because it never really came to like Northern California until this recent like rollout. So that was its own little thing. So I was like, okay, we got to do this. We got to do this content. We got to go get the McRib. And so that was its own little thing. But basically,
did you get sick off of it? Be honest. I mean, you can be honest here.
The thing I'm gonna say is, I didn't get like sick in the sense of like it really like it was like something that I like felt after the fact. It's just like when I threw up, it was because basically I had way too much food in my stomach. My body was like, all right, no more. It's time to stop. No more. Where are your parents? It's time to stop. So basically, that's the whole thing. Is like that was what prompted like me throwing up. So that was
No, I
okay, you're done. You're done. You have nothing.
McRib was terrible for me. I hated it.
I mean, in the McRib's defense, it's better than most of the items on McDonald's menu.
That doesn't say anything, dude.
I know it doesn't, but
I prefer their coffee. That's all I'm getting at McDonald's.
So
none of that.
I guess to answer your question, though, the main thing about that was Scotty actually had to constantly convince us that this video was worth doing. And for me, the main issue I always had was like, this is like, we've been on a pretty good streak so far of not making a video about just one person in the band being like, ooh, look at me. And then Now that streak is broken. There's a video dedicated
Well,
solely
actually,
to Scotty.
I have to say, you did make it. You can't quite say that because you made a video yourself about the introductions to metal, to the metal scene, and how music gets
The
around to
metal?
other people.
You mean the tour video we did?
Yes, that one. I mean,
would say
you
that's
you
not
were
the
you were the main reporter for the entire thing. So
I mean, that's the thing. That's not about me.
That's more like him playing a narrator role is the main thing. It's to
Yeah,
say,
that
like,
video is not literally about me, though, is the thing.
oh, okay. You're talking. Okay,
Yeah.
you said this. So you're talking about staring you versus
well,
about you.
it's because like basically without me being here, that video has no reason to exist.
Okay.
That's the main.
Yeah.
That's
You
the
got a
main
point.
thing.
You got a point. You got a point.
For the how metalheads discover new music, that video, you could replace me with somebody else, and it still pretty much is a decent video. On
That's
Yeah,
its own.
true.
none of these guys have Mcrib as a last name. That's me.
Yeah. So the main
That's
idea,
true.
I guess, is we compromised in the sense that, you know, if he gets to have his own video, then the rest of us do as well. So there's some stuff like that coming in the future. I won't say too much about it.
I look forward to seeing what the king has in store for us in the upcoming.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I just say, there's always a lot of videos. There's always a lot of things you want to do, and that's certainly a big part of what our overall idea for that is. You know.
I got you. So, how about what influenced you in metal at a young age, and fashion?
I mean, in that regard, I mean, I'd say like I kind of gravitated towards metal because I was already like really into rock. It's to say that in that realm, like it was a natural progression because it was like, you know, I mean, I grew up on classic rock. It was like the main music my dad listened to, and I heavily enjoyed it. It's just to say, like, in that realm, like, I went from that to listening to some punk bands in middle school. It was like I liked bands like Billy Talent, like Pennywise, like Bad Religion, like what's it called, like Black Flag, and this is to say, like, I was getting into punk, and then like essentially with all that being there, like metal was a very easy transition at that point. And for me, like,
do you get into rockabilly?
I mean, only a little bit. It's like I feel like my connections to that have a lot to do with me getting into horror punk because like psychobilly kind of crosses that line a little bit. But
Do you do
like,
ICP?
No, my sister likes ICP though.
According to your TikTok intro, you like ICP.
I wouldn't why my TikTok intro is a credible source of information about me. That's all I can say about that.
But you would say Daniels is.
I mean, he's got 3 dead. I mean, that's pretty bad.
No, he's got 3 sweatshops.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He's got his body counts 30. That's right. That's right.
3. That was like years ago.
Right. Yeah, no, but that's its own little thing. Is like it's like new metal was something I got into. Thrash was something I got into. It was like that was kind of my pathways up, and then it went heavier.
Did you ever get into like Linkin Park, Breaking Benjamin, like the emo rock?
Not so much Breaking Benjamin as much as Linkin Park. More so like just because I never really took the time to listen to them that much. But it's to say like outside of that, like is to say like, yeah, I was really into Linkin Park. I was really into Korn, the System of a Down.
3 Doors Down.
There were other bands I dabbled into in that genre. As to say like that was my main thing there. And then like of course like thrash, that was like I got handed like Megadeth's Rust in Peace. Loved the shit out of it. I got handed like Metallica's Master of Puppets. Loved the shit out of it. And it's just to say like it just kept going from there.
What about you, X?
I kind of build into it very slowly, as a lot of people do. Is I started off getting into Guitar Hero 2 back when it was pretty much still new on the market. And that was something that I played when I was in my summer camp for video production one year. Then after that, I got really into rock music. I got really into grunge in particular. I was into even Daft Punk at the time. And from there, it's like slowly progressed into heavier stuff. Eventually it became AC/DC. And then from that, it was Black Sabbath. And then from there,
Did
you
you
know,
ever
you get
get into like
Metallica,
Silverstein and
Pantera.
all those other guys?
Yeah, but the thing that I think sold it for me was that I was actually one day going into a video rental store that was doing a clearance sale because it was officially going out of business. And I mean, this was back when Blockbuster still had a few more years left in its system. So video rental stores going out of business was just sweeping all over the place. And I
Ugh.
went in mostly just to get like Jurassic Park 2. And when I did, the guy saw that I had long hair and an AC/DC shirt, and he handed me a documentary called Get Thrashed, which talked about like the beginning and end of the thrash metal scene, like up to that point. And I'm guessing it was like 2006 as well, because around then it was like, I remember David Ellefson was kicked out of Megadeth, and I mean like the first time, not this most recent
The
one,
first
which
time.
is a lot more reasonable.
No,
How many times did you get kicked out of Megadeth?
He was kicked out in 2004 and hadn't joined back in for a while. I think
Yeah,
the documentary.
There we go.
I think the documentary was 2006. So I just watched that from start to finish, and it was enamoring to me. Just the idea that music is more than just a music store. You can actually see the start and end of the historical landmarks that happened, certain events in time, and just eras can happen of that style of thing. And I didn't realize music was this big of a thing in the world until I saw that documentary, and that was the one that brought me into metal music the most, I'd say.
Nice. I like the balanced history between you guys. One got into thrash metal and one got into horror punk. I mean, you guys have like your history meshes in a way, technically.
Yeah, if we had all four of us here, I bet this would be a much more interesting thing for both Leyland and Daniel.
Yeah,
then
I
we get
can
Daniel, who like pretty much isn't into metal,
definitely what I do is at a later point I can do a Gurschach part 2 and have all of you guys together if that is an interest of you guys in the future.
Oh, absolutely. As long as you get my name right.
Right. So anything in your anything personal in your life affect your music? Like what in like, for example, what do you think this is a game? Was that inspired by a personal event? Or
yeah, we completely rechanged the lyrics to that one, but the song originally was actually written about lazy bands in the scene.
Yeah, no.
That's awesome.
We went to a show at the Burnt Ramen at the time, and like a lot of the bands that were prevalent there, a lot of the people who showed up, like essentially, a lot of the bands were like power violence bands. And I mean, I love me some power violence, I really do, but like some of them were making shit up on the fly, and you can tell. And that was its own thing. I mean, there were other things too. I mean, frankly, that night, like, I'm convinced like that like petite like Asian girl who was screaming was on acid, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she had one vocal sound, which was banshee screech.
Yeah, but like she'd like get up and like look
around,
God. Yeah, she wasn't doing too good, it seemed. But it was like we were there for our opening band. Scotty ended up finding some girl he was trying to hook up with, and she wanted to be there for the entire show. The rest of us already saw the band we came there to see, and then we had to, be good wingmen and just allow Scotty to do his thing, and all of us just had to stand there watching as bands took the stage with no written material at all, no ability to actually play their instruments in certain cases. One guy, I think, passed out drunk right before he was the singer for the next band, and had dicks on his face while he was on stage.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, what? What?
Oh, like
Yeah,
like
paint
how people like draw stuff on you when you pass out drunk.
Yeah, that same guy apparently did some like ridiculous screech into the microphone at one point, threw his beer bottle at the ceiling, and then broken glass shattered all over the people down below him.
Oh, wow.
And
Sounds like a
at
party.
that point, Daniel had gotten so fed up with the way things were going that night, he just straight up screamed, "What do you think this is, a game?"
Nice.
And I remember we just all laughed about that the entire night.
And then it
some
turned
days
into a
later,
song that everyone loves.
Then some days later, they wrote a song that I wasn't there for. They showed it to me like, "Hey, here you go." And they wanted to know what to call it. And I was like, "Hey, what was that thing that Daniel said at the last show just recently? Let's put that in there."
Wow. I love that song now even more.
I mean, it shifted a lot as time went on. I mean, we all remember how the 2016 election was, so that was its own thing, and that bled into the eventual lyrics of that, which that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, like changing it around, and it did end up working pretty well, even with what it was. Essentially, like I feel like on Dark Matter, I think that was the one I contributed to the most, to be honest. I think so, at least.
You had a vocal line and a backing riff, I think.
And lyrics.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that I think you should have what do you think this is, a game with as a version 2 with the original lyrics. It would be interesting to hear what you had to bring in the first
I'm gonna
first
have to
one
remember
for
what
you.
those original lyrics are.
I feel like the third verse wasn't that hard to forget.
You know, if you look up live videos of us from back before 2017, you might actually get to hear those lyrics.
Okay, I'll be sure to look that up for sure. Okay, wow.
Nah, but yeah, I mean,
I have to
feel
say
like
you're probably one of my favorite interviews so far. Don't tell anybody. Okay, so
Yo, everybody, you hear that?
Tell us some stories of your choosing.
like what kind of stories are you talking about?
So
like,
there was the one time that we almost died in 2015 while trying to get the photos for the Beautiful Nightmares.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
There's an actually, I have Beautiful Nightmares over there next to the bucket.
Oh,
you see it?
Hold on.
It's
yes,
there. So the Beautiful Nightmares EP, and back in 2015, this thing is so broke. We did this photo right here.
Okay.
And it's a sort of optical illusion type thing where like you do that and it's weird.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So this took place at Byron Hot Springs Hotel in Byron. And the idea is that it's this dilapidated, abandoned hotel that burned down, was used as like an interrogation center, went through so many changes, and now it just kind of sits there with some person's livestock and nobody really gets to use it anymore. So it's this sort of urban decayed exploration center for like delinquents and artistic punks who get to just sort of detach from society if they want. But when we went there, apparently it was a bad time to go there, and we parked in a bad place for having been there at the same time. And it's not like we were really aware of who to talk to in order to go there and get permission, because it's an abandoned middle of nowhere kind of place.
Yeah, right. Like legitimately, you would completely miss it if like outside of like if you drive down Vasco, you can briefly see it like between the hills at one point. It's like basically old beaten up building, like nothing about it's functional. It was old, like the building was used in World War II as like like as he was saying, an interrogation camp.
But now it is just completely destroyed. It has graffiti all over the walls. I don't think there's a single clean spot on that entire plot of land. So the idea was that we wanted to go there, get a photo shoot taken care of at that place. We didn't really like brief it with anybody because like we didn't know who that was going to be for. We just thought, we'll go in, take photos, leave, whatever. On our like, because it's a very long hike to get out there, because you're supposed to have driven up there in the past, but the gate to that driveway is blocked off, so you have to hike for a little while just to get there. And on our way back, hiking back, we're a sort of a straight shot view to where our car is parked, which is at this point, like I'd say about a mile away from where we're at right now. And we just see this pickup truck careen like just Tokyo drift right outside the gate. And this giant dude with like no hair and like tattoos is like, what the fuck are you doing in there? And Leyland, being the least chill in this situation, starts freaking the fuck out and having a panic attack. And me having like no conscience, no real concern for tomorrow, was like the most chill about it. And he was like, what are we gonna do, man? We're so screwed. And I'm like, Leyland, don't worry, I got this. Here, just take this. And I wrapped up our little spray paint can in a towel, gave it to him, and I'm like, there, that's your problem now. So I was just like, Leyland, just make sure no one sees that. So they were like, dude, this is not cool. Like, what's going to happen? It's like, here's what's going to happen. We're going to take our sweet ass time getting over to him, because by the time we get there, he'll be calmed down. So
lo and behold, he was right.
Yeah. So we just walk super slowly. He's like, you guys aren't supposed to be in there. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Here, when we get over there, we'll talk about it. We didn't mean any trouble. It's like, yeah, well, you guys look like trouble. It's like, no, I swear, we are just tourists. By the time we get there, he's like, all right, I swear to God, if it was my grandpa, he would have kicked your asses. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure he would have. I'm glad it's not your grandpa. I was like, just because I'm feeling nice, I'll let you guys off with a warning. And when we got there, he told us about how, like, apparently some people actually came there and started, like, shooting the cows that belonged to them on the plot of land, which was news to us. We didn't know people were up to that stuff there, and that's not even cool for us. But then he was also like, yeah, and some punks were spray painting it there, and then we were like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, I think what I told him is like, yeah, I kind of noticed the spray paint a little bit, which I felt was kind of like just ludicrous that he would get mad at people like spray painting. I'm like, dude, your whole location is just nothing but spray paint at this point. There's no saving it at this point.
There's no saving
spray paint it red.
It's like, can you believe someone added a new piece of spray paint to it? And I'm like, where? Like, no, I'm serious. Where? If you can actually point it out to me, I'll be amazed. So that guy told us like how his grandpa has been known to actually show up to people invading on that property with a shotgun. And we had a guest with us, too, who didn't even know what we were getting him into. So he was freaking out, too. And then we had to sort of wrap it up because almost everybody had worked in a few hours. And I remember I had either like class or some kind of night course going on.
Something like that.
And we were just like, hey, listen, we got to get going. We were already kind of running late in our own operations here. Can we just get out of your hair? We won't be a problem for you anymore. And then he's like, yeah, well, if you're going to come by, just make sure you stop at the little, I guess, like cafe restaurant that's just down there. And I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a correct way to do this. Okay. We'll be sure to keep that in mind for the future. And, we never actually went back there, but still.
Right.
At the car ride back, Leyland is still trying to calm down. He was like, dude, we could have fucking died there. Do you realize that? And I'm like, I know. Wasn't that awesome?
Wow.
That was the story about how we got this photo.
Oh, wow.
That EP is also out of print, so one of the few
So
times
you
you'll see it
missed it.
again.
You missed it. Oh man.
I might have to go get a copy of that. That sounds awesome.
It's out of print,
yeah.
buddy.
Yeah, we don't have any copies left.
Oh, you don't have any more? That sucks.
We sold them all. We're doing our next EP coming out soon. That'll be limited as well. So you'll have to get a copy
gonna
of
do
that
something
before
cr-
it's gone.
You're gonna do something crazy for that one too.
I don't know about death defying, but like that. But I mean, there's gonna be original songs. We're gonna have our cover of Saint Anger on it. We're gonna have our cover of Dead Skin Mask that was just released on it.
With having
Will Blood Money be on there?
We could be committing career suicide if that's death defying enough.
Right.
We'll see.
Will Blood Money be on there?
Well, what?
That's one of my favorites. Blood Money.
Black what?
The one where you talking about you're the god of your soul
Innocent Blood.
That's Innocent Blood.
Innocent Blood, not Blood Money. Sorry,
Yeah,
I thought I got
out,
that,
man. We got that.
No, I
on
mean,
Dark
you're gonna
Matter.
put that on the EP.
No, it's already on Dark Matter. We already released it.
Oh, okay. I wasn't
There's
sure.
still
That's
plenty
one of
of copies of that,
That's
though.
one of my favorites.
All right, you should get a copy of it, man.
Oh, I intend to. So now that we're we're pretty much at 51 minutes. This is one of the longest and one of the best in my opinion.
It happens.
Tell me, I want to touch base on an idea of what would happen if you didn't have music, or made a different path off of music. What do you think would happen?
There was very real chance back in 2013 where I almost considered that possibility because we had lost our longtime bassist Mike Flynn at the time, and the direction where we were going was very unsure. We kind of started off as just a dopey party bands that had maybe 10 songs and that was it. And there was a chance that I was like getting into animation and I was starting to get offers for like working for video game studios in like Colorado. And I kind of said no to that. One, because I still hadn't released anything with my bands yet that I was proud of. And two, I was still going to college. I didn't feel like I truly knew enough on how to do that. And I wasn't going to like back in 2013 economy, just go move and like live somewhere else off of a salary that I don't know what I'm even doing with.
Right.
So had that arrived to me maybe a year or two later down the road after some stuff has happened, there's a possibility I might have actually gone into animation. And,
What about you, Scotty?
Yeah.
I mean, I went to St. Mary's College to do business, and that was something that I have my degree in business and marketing, which I mean, in terms of a day job, like I've been doing more on the marketing side, but I was in insurance for a good while. I suppose I could have stayed in insurance, albeit I'm kind of glad I didn't. But all in all, point being, I could see myself with a menial like business career and whatnot, but I don't think I'd be happy. I really don't.
No, yeah. I mean, I sort of stopped with the animation too because my YouTube channel, my original one, got terminated by YouTube's bots for a completely unknown reason. And that's been happening to a lot of people in my community when I was doing that. And that was like so discouraging that like, you know, if I'm an animator and my way of getting my animations out there is a YouTube account, if the YouTube account disappears, then I'm ruined. But if I had a YouTube account for Gurschach and the YouTube account disappeared, well, we still got Spotify, we still got TikTok, we still got Facebook.
Right.
You know, hey, Facebook disappears. We still have all those other things. It's like for the band, I realized just how much sturdier that was.
To be honest, if Facebook would just disappear already, we'd probably all appreciate it.
Yeah, Zuck, just do us the honors and just do it for us.
Look,
You almost had the right idea a few days ago, and then you came back on.
Right.
Just
supposedly it went offline.
On your face, go to the beach, forget about it, and
right.
We'll
do something else.
A reptile.
And bring back MySpace.
Yeah, bring back
MySpace. There you go.
Yeah. So I think for me, the idea was that back in those days, though, like when we were still working on Dark Matter, my attention was kind of split from the band and my animation stuff, where I was trying to do both my personal projects and what the band was up to at the same time. And then Scotty was kind of also working on his side project at the time too. And there was just a lot of fractured attention going on in that moment. When the animation thing fell through and caved for me, I kind of realized I have to make a decision on, like, am I going to go full on with the music, or am I going to go into the animation? Because I could try again with that, but it would have to be like all in, all my chips played. And I just felt like it was not a sturdy enough way to rely on. So at this point, so much of what I've been doing has been built up on a music career that I'm in this situation where this is my one and only plan. This is the choice I have made, and I don't have a backup to go with it. So it's going to be, life or death. It's going to have to come to a point where it works. And that's, I think, my motivation to work at it as hard as I can.
Well, my honest opinion in that, not to knock your guys' journey, but what if you matched it together? I mean, Scotty, you said that you have a business degree, and King, King X, you told me that you do animation. What if you made like a Gurschach video game or something? Wouldn't that be an interesting?
I think this would be a very good segue into what we just released. So last Saturday, on the 31st anniversary of Seasons in the Abyss, we just released our second animated lyric video for our cover of Slayer's Dead Skin Mask. It was animated by Joshua Leichberg, and the illustrations were done by our longtime artist NJD, who did the artwork for Dark Matter and a bunch of other singles of ours. It is out there on YouTube, and it is exclusively on iTunes and Apple Music, which is for the time being until the EP comes out. And the EP has already been announced now. Hypnotic Disasters, January 14th next year is when it's going to be dropping.
There you go.
Yep.
And I'll be sure to locate that and put that on my page as well to give you guys the promotion that you guys ultimately deserve, for sure.
Yeah, speaking of which, don't actually subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just, you can watch the videos, you can like them and comment on them.
I'm gonna step right here.
Oh no!
The reason why you want to subscribe is because Shot in the Gut 3 is at 10,000 subs.
Subscribe.
You gotta do it. You gotta fucking do it.
Don't subscribe. Oh my god, no!
This is going on YouTube anyway. You guys are both kind of sunk anyway.
Just admit it.
Oh, fuck me.
This is going on YouTube anyway, so you guys are both kind of sunk anyway.
Oh, god damn it.
Okay, so
I'll take it.
Final question, and this is the last one. What does local music mean to you and Gurschach? And where would you be with? And you already said where would you go without music, but where would you go without the local scene?
I mean, the thing I'd say about that is, the local scene to me is a big part of it. It's a community. It just in general is a bunch of like-minded people who all have very similar goals. And the main thing is, in that realm, there's a lot of room for support. And of course, that doesn't always come. And that's just to say, I feel like the Bay's better than a lot of other areas where, just a name drop. It's this is the kind of place where, we're all enjoying our craft. We're not all up here necessarily to get famous like LA is, for example. Is to say that it's that community, it's that camaraderie, and the desire that we have our friends in the scene, we all support each other the best we can. And it's obviously not everyone can come to everything. That's just the reality, is not everyone can go to every show. There's simply too many of them in the Bay Area on any given night. And while that's definitely the case, and while that is what it is, it's there's still a lot of fun to be had. There's still a lot of camaraderie, a lot of people building each other up. And I just say that in general, if this area ever lost its scene, it would truly lose its soul. It's not necessarily just metal.
I see the local scene as being your initiation test. It's the kind of thing where when you first think about being in a band, you'll start off with that dream of becoming world famous on a sort of arena stage surrounded by thousands of people. And that's sort of the goal that you'll get stuck in your head. But the idea is that the local scene has to be where you figure out whether you deserve that or not. It's the kind of
There
thing
you
where
go. There you go.
the people that you are surrounded with, where you come from, where your roots have been planted, if you disrespect that, or if you don't even have what it takes to, keep them on your side, then you don't have any support to get to that high of the
There you
bill.
go. You
The
have to
local scene,
have the drive.
yeah, the local scene are your roots. And it's those people that basically determine whether or not you get to be successful or get to earn that sort of pace. So you kind of end in the end owe the local scene whatever it is that you get at any points, because the moment you piss off your local scene, even if you move somewhere else, all you are doing is just delaying the inevitable of where it's going to happen again. So always make sure that you're working out locally before you start thinking about working out internationally.
There you go.
If you're not working out locally, what are you doing, man? What are you doing?
There you go. There you go. And I have to agree that when it comes to like booking and promoting, you are basically, as I've had 4 shows so far, it's cutthroat. You don't have a boss, like as an audio tech, as a lights tech, as you don't have a boss. You're the public. The scene is your boss. And if it's something that the scene doesn't like, you're not going to get anything for your show. And it's a good way to put it. You're spot on when you say it, that you have to give where credit is due to the local scene. The local scene is the ones that go to the shows that you put on. And it makes a lot of sense.
The local scene is there when no one else was.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, because the main thing in that realm is like, when you first like start a band, it's like, everybody's like, oh, that's so cute. Like you get your friends and relatives that show up, and then
hey, good job.
It's like, hey, good job. You did a thing. Now, where are you going to college again? And that's
so. What's your real job?
Yeah, like, and that just it is like in that realm. Like eventually, like your high school friends will have other things to do. Your family will stop finding it cute, and so it's like at that point, like is to say that at that point, like they're like, oh, we went to these couple shows, we've tried to support you, but blah blah blah, like we think this is interfering with you being a successful brain surgeon, so so we're not going to go to your shows anymore. That's
there you go.
Thing.
Right.
Frankly, like at that point, like you got to have friends like in the scene. You got to like at least do something that
colleagues
them there, because once those friends and family go, and I mean, for a while they're there. I mean, it's its own little thing. But when they eventually stop coming, you got to have your support of your scene.
There you go. You have to have your supporters. You have to have your colleagues. At some point, you go from friends to colleagues, especially when you're taking part of the scene and you're not just going to shows. So you're spot on. You're really spot on. All right, guys. Well, this is the end. This is my guest, Gurschach, the one and only Brian X King, and Scotty Mcrib. And I will let you guys know when this actually hits YouTube. And we actually had a viewer, and yeah. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's been fun. And once again, we got our EP coming January 14th. Go check out Dead Skin Mask if you haven't already. And remember,
buy our shirts.
Buy our shirts.
Buy shirts, buy socks, buy everything.
Yep. But most importantly, buy our shirts.
Shout out to 1,000 subs. Jump on, guys. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Bring the pain. Bring the pain. Yeah.